Hey everyone, I'm Rosami. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I want to talk about a game I've been playing recently called MENACE. It's a new turn-based tactical RPG from Hooded Horse, and even though it's still in early access, I've been enjoying it a lot. So after spending some time with MENACE, the first thing that really stood out to me is how solid the gameplay feels. This is a turn-based tactical RPG, but it doesn't feel slow or clunky. Every move matters, every decision has weight, and the game really rewards you for thinking ahead. If you enjoy planning out your turns and setting up clever plays, this game gives you a lot of room to do that. Before getting deeper into the gameplay, I want to talk a bit about the story of Manus. You play as the commander of a strike force of Marines from the Terran Congressional Republic, or TCR, which is basically the government of Earth. The TCR Navy sends out the TCRN Impetus, a strike cruiser and troop carrier, to the Wayback System, which is where the whole game takes place. The Wayback System has a really cool setup. It used to be connected to the core worlds, but its warp gate was damaged about 100 years ago. People could enter, but nobody could leave. Over that century of isolation, the system's local government, called Planetary Jingwei, slowly lost control. Pirates took over, crime exploded, and the whole region became a mess. Your job is to bring order back to the system. You're dealing with aliens, pirates, corporations, and fractured governments, all while uncovering a bigger threat that's starting to emerge. The Impetus acts as your base of operations between missions, and it really helps the game feel like a proper military campaign. Now let's talk about the mechanics, because this is where Manus really shines. The heart of the game is your squad leaders and pilots. These characters drive both the strategic and tactical layers of the game. Squad leaders command infantry squads, while pilots operate vehicles. Each one has their own attributes, roles, and promotions that add perks and shape how they perform. Your infantry units are led by squad leaders. The squad leader can carry unique weapons if you choose, and they deploy with their squaddies, the grunts that make up the rest of the unit. Each squaddie represents a chunk of the squad's total HP. When the squad takes damage, squaddies die off, which lowers morale and reduces how many attacks the unit gets per turn. If the squad's HP hits 0 and all the squaddies are gone, the squad leader goes into a bleeding out state. They're not dead yet, but they need another squad leader to stabilize them. If you don't get to them in time, they're gone permanently. So there's a real sense of risk and tension in every mission. Each squad leader and pilot has a set of attributes that determine their combat stats. Squad leaders have 7 attributes, pilots have 5, and these really shape how they perform on the battlefield. On top of that, every character starts with a unique perk, and as they get promoted, they gain more perks. Promotions make them stronger, but they also increase their supply cost, which brings me to the next big mechanic. Every unit you deploy, whether it's infantry or a vehicle, has a supply cost. This includes the squad leader, their squaddies, their equipment, and their promotions. On the deployment screen, you'll see something like Utilize/Max Supply. If you go over the limit, you can't start the mission until you reduce your costs. This creates a really interesting layer of strategy. Do you bring better equipment or more cheaper squads? Do you promote someone now for the perk, or hold off because you need the supply? You can even demote characters to lower their supply cost, which refunds half of the promotion points. It's a smart system that makes you think about your roster in a meaningful way. In the game, you also take on operations. Each operation is made up of 3 to 5 missions, and you'll see them pop up on the star map every time you end a turn. They stay available for a limited number of turns, so you can't just take your time forever. If you let an operation expire, you might take a hit to your relationship with one of the factions in the system. And that's where the real decision-making comes in. You can't do everything. Sometimes you have to choose which missions matter most and which ones you're willing to ignore. It really makes you feel like a commander trying to manage a whole region with limited time and resources. When you finish an operation, you get to pick from a set of rewards. These rewards come from the three non-playable factions that give the operations, and their upgrades for your ship, the TCRN Impetus. Another big part of the game is the black market, and honestly, it's one of the most important systems in Manus. The black market is the only way to recruit new squad leaders and pilots, and it's also where you can get rare or specific pieces of equipment. Instead of using money, everything works on a barter system. You trade in loot and miscellaneous items you've collected during missions, and in return, you can pick from whatever stock is available. The stock is divided into three sections: manpower, recruitment options like the small recruitment effort, and the squad leader or pilot dossiers. These let you bring new characters into your roster, and you can only buy them a limited number of times per operation. Regular equipment, weapons, vehicles, and accessories that match your current progression. Rare items, high tier or progression skipping items that cost double. These are great if you want to power up early. As you progress through more operations, the black market stock gets better. Early on, you might only see something like a medium walker once or twice. But by the time you're deep into the campaign, around your 30th operation, you'll start seeing high-end gear show up regularly in the normal stock. Before wrapping up, I want to talk a bit about the early access state of Manus. Even though the game is still in early access, I personally haven't run into any issues or bugs. For me, it's already surprisingly polished and fully playable as a complete tactical experience. Of course, because it is early access, the developers will likely add new features, rebalance certain mechanics, and fix any bugs that players report. But the foundation that's here right now is already strong. I'd also say the game is hard but fair, especially in the beginning. Early missions can hit you pretty hard if you're not careful, but once you start planning properly for the mid-game, things become more manageable. It rewards good decision-making, and when you play smart, the game feels fair and satisfying. One thing that's really important in Manus is taking cover. Positioning matters a lot, and using cover correctly can be the difference between surviving a mission or getting wiped. The game really pushes you to think about where you're standing and how exposed your units are. And something that makes Manus stand out from other tactical RPGs is its alternating per-unit activation system. Instead of the classic I go, you go turn structure, every unit, yours and the enemy's, acts once per round. A turn is just a single unit taking its action. Once a unit moves, it can't act again until the next round. This creates some really interesting decisions. Sometimes you have to choose between safely finishing off an enemy or ignoring them because you know they won't act again this round, and instead, focusing on a bigger threat. It adds a lot of depth and tension to every encounter. So, should you play Manus right now? If you're a fan of turn-based tactical RPGs, I'd say yes. Even in early access, it's already fun, already challenging, and already has that just one more mission feeling. There's room to grow, but the potential is huge, and honestly, I'm enjoying it a lot. All right, that's going to wrap up my thoughts on Manus. I've really been enjoying my time with it, and I'm excited to see how it grows throughout early access. If you've played it yourself, feel free to share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're finding it. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps out a lot. And if you want to see more reviews, gameplay, or just follow along as the channel grows, consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.